Alright, well, welcome to the end. It's Batty speaking, and today I'm going to bring you a little project I was working on this afternoon. So, I had this idea in my head that you could use Tashar and Squee and Hazaret and Skirk Prospector, and you can get an infinite loop going. And basically how it works is you have to have Hazaret in play so that your Squee only costs 2 instead of the 3 that it normally costs. It'll just be the 2 red. And then this card reads, whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card converted mana cost 3 or less from your graveyard to your battlefield. So you cast Squee, Prospector at some point, so both are in play. Use the Skirk Prospector to sack the Squee and then to sack itself, adding 2 red. You can then use the Squee to recast itself, or the mana to recast Squee from the graveyard. Comes into play, triggers Tashar, brings back the Skirk Prospector, and then you can do it all over again. Sack them for 2, bring it back, sack them for 2. So all that's doing is creating an infinite loop where 2 creatures go into the graveyard, 2 creatures come back from the graveyard. Only one of them actually triggers the historic from this, because this is legendary, that one's not. While all this is happening, Hazaret's Monument keeps seeing creatures getting cast, i.e. Squee, and keeps allowing you to loot. So you can discard a card to draw a card, so it digs you through your deck really, really quickly, looking for whatever your win condition is. In this deck, I have 4 of this creature, which whenever you cast a historic spell, you mill for 2. Take 2 cards from the top of the other person's library, put it into their graveyard, so you're trying to get them out of cards. And the other one, which isn't that's an infinite combo. It'll just keep going. Whereas this is not an infinite combo, but it's usually good enough. And it's whenever you draw a card, you create a 1/1 blue and red insect creature token with flying and haste. So this is just, you have it in play, and every time you do the cycle, when you draw a card with Hazaret, you get a guy, a 1/1 body. So if they're at 20, you just draw 20 cards through Hazaret's, discarding draw, discard draw, discard draw, until you get 20. Attack with 20 1/1 flying hasted beetle things. If you need 30 of them, do it 30 times. You know, it's just another way to kill them. The rest of the deck is a little bit of redundancy and a little bit of, like a really, really little bit of removal. So you got Artificer's Assistant. It's a good 1-drop, and whenever you cast a historic spell, you scry 1. Helps you digging for the pieces that you need. You've got 2 board the Weatherlight. Look at the top 5 cards, reveal a historic card. It gets you everything you need for the combo except for Skirk Prospector. So it's pretty good for that. And you've got Treasure Map. Again, scries, and then sometimes when it flips you get the treasures, which are actually more useful as treasures for the extra mana than really to draw cards, but you can also draw cards with them. And as I said, you've got the Seal Away as one of your removal suite, part of your removal suite, and the rest of it is 3 Settle the Wreckage. There's nothing else to protect you, because the combo needs a lot of cards, and I wanted it to be as consistent as possible. It wins. Well, I shouldn't say it wins. It works. We got a normal dual land mana base with singletons of Field of Ruin and Scavenger Grounds. And the deck runs really well. I've run 4 games with it. It's won 3 of them, we'll say. It's technically won all of them, but here's the issue. The first 3 games I played with this deck, and this was all just in regular competition against like random brew decks. They didn't look particularly strong, but they weren't particularly weak. They were doing interesting things. But I mean, I wasn't playing against all like mono red or something crazy. That's really fast, so results may vary. Having said that, the first 3 games, as soon as I hit the loop, you can represent the loop, you can show the opponent what's happening, so you're going through it, and it takes a while, because it's click on Skirk Prospector, say OK, sacrifice Squee, click accept. Then sacrifice Skirk Prospector, click OK. Then they're both in the graveyard. Then you cast Squee from the graveyard. He comes into play, he triggers this if it's in play, then this if it's in play, then that if it's in play, then this. So it takes forever. And all the while that this is happening, your timer's running down, your timer's running down, your timer's running down. So you can play as fast as possible through the entire game, but when you get to the point where you have to do this loop, you're just clicking as fast as you can possibly go because your timer's going, and you know you got timeouts to go, but at this point the guy probably has 40 cards in his library, which means you've got to run 20 loops if you're going to do it with one of these guys. If you've got the ability to get multiple of them down, like sometimes you'll be doing the loop and you'll get 3 or 4 in, and then you find another one because you're continuously looting during the whole process, unless you don't want to. So then you might get another one, you might have free mana or have some tokens from a treasure map, throw it down. Now it's making the loop faster because it's 2 triggers of that, so it's 4 cards every single loop. But the takeaway is the first 3 opponents all conceded. The first 2, they conceded almost instantly. I did 2 or 3 loops, they saw exactly what was happening, they saw that it was an infinite loop, there's no way to get out of it, they conceded. The third guy, it took him a little bit longer, I think he was a little confused, maybe a newer player, but he got it. The last player that I just played with, I looped him through all my timeouts. Then he took a turn, then I looped him through that entire turn, then he took a turn and I died. It was, I want to say, from 38 down to 7 or 8 cards left in his library. So I'm considering that a win because that is definitely showing the loop, or what, I don't remember right now what the actual terminology is, displaying the loop. But basically in a tournament, all you have to do is show that it's an infinite loop. You don't have to physically sit there and go through it all. In this, there's no recourse for that. So as it stands right now, infinite strategies, at least ones that are so involved, definitely dead. Having said that, I am definitely building this out of my collection, sleeving it, and going to Friday Night Magic with this because it was super fun to play. So again, the deck works perfectly fine. It's not particularly slow actually, because if you've got a decent amount of dual lands, the mana base is pretty consistent. So you're really looking at like turn 1 or 2 somewhere in here, and then you've got, you do not want to cast this early. Treasure maps are okay turn 2. Skirk Prospectors are fine, because again, if they die, sometimes you use them to block. If they die, you're going to be bringing them back with a squee anyways. And usually you'll have enough mountains to be able to cast in traditional anyways the first time. You've got pieces on top of pieces on top of pieces. You've got manoliths to fill in any blanks in that. It's not too bad. Turns 5, turns 6, you're usually going off. You usually have all 4 pieces you need for the engine and one of the kill conditions. And if you don't, you can just run the loop dry with no kill condition, just looting through forever. So you really don't even need your kill condition right off the bat. So it's definitely a good deck. Well, I shouldn't say good deck. It's probably not a good deck. It's definitely a fun deck. And it's definitely strong against the jank that exists on Arena right now. I'm going to upload the end of the video or the last match that I was talking about, but I'll upload that as a separate video, just because I don't want this to be too long. Again, this has been the end. I'm Batty, and don't play infinites. Okay, bye.